Hey, it's Craig. You may recognize me as Stuttering Craig from way back in the old internet days. Guys, thanks so much for finding me wherever or however you found me, whether it's through the recommended videos or someone told you that I'm kind of back looking at old stuff and watching. That's what I do on this channel. I help relive the old internet, a time of simpler needs, wants, and less hatred all throughout. I want you to have a great time and just enjoy yourself for about 10 to 15 minutes while you're hanging out with me today. And usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays around noon o'clock Central Standard Time. Today's video is probably going to be a little bit longer because we're looking at not one but two videos. I could break it up, but why deprive you of that fun? Back in the day, this video, this list was put into two separate videos for GameTrailers.com way back in the day. It's the top 20 Super Nintendo games. I think this was released maybe, I don't know, 2010 or so. So it's been over a decade, but not many SNES games have been released since this was being come out. So we'll see how much this has changed. If you are new, do me a favor, hit the subscription button. You guys seem to enjoy these things. That'd be great. We passed 27,100 subscribers recently, which is great. Growing a little bit more every single day. Your subscriptions are huge. Also, your thumbs up are great, and your comments are even better. I would love to hear your thoughts on if this list holds up today, or how bad it is, or where you would place these things on lists. That's what I love about top 10 list is everybody's list is different. So please, by all means, comment down below. Also, I want to thank the super thankers from the last video. 5 super thankers. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Barry Thick. Thank you, Barry. Appreciate that. Backyard TARDIS on a great little streak. Thank you, Backyard TARDIS. Travis Keys, Shane Bentley, and Lauren. Lauren also on a streak right now of super thanking the videos. Can we pass 5 super thankers this week? That'd be great. It's down right below. We have the little heart with the dollar on it. And anyways, greatly appreciate your support. It goes so far in you know, looking back and just supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's get into this thing. It's the top 20 Super Nintendo games from way back in the day of ScrewAttack and game trailers. Let's get into this, shall we? We shall. All right, the old screw intro here. People seem to really like this. I never really liked that intro just because it had screws and ScrewAttack. I don't know, whatever.
The Super Nintendo.
It was really cool.
Some would say the best console ever made with one of the most extensive and impressive game libraries in history.
Accurate.
Games that can still hang in this era of high-definition gaming and fully orchestrated soundtracks.
Also accurate.
Freaking awesome. With
Go
so
get
many
'em.
damn fine games, there is no way we can limit this just down to 10. So we had to put together 2 lists.
2
Where's
lists.
your favorite game gonna land?
just spoiler, I don't think Stunt Race FX made the list. I don't even know why Stunt Race FX made the intro. I don't know. Also, you notice he's going 103 miles an hour down here? Okay.
Let's find out. Hey, I'm Stuttering Craig for ScrewAttack's Top 20 Super NES Games.
Look at those graphics right there. Ooh. Okay, so a little fact real fast. We had numbers 1 through 10 voiced by a professional. I believe at this point we were still using this guy named Wes, his voice, for our numbers. Later, John St. John was the voice, the guy who did Duke Nukem. He did our VO for 1 through 10. I think I actually did up to 20 at one point. But anytime prior to that, before using John St. John, anytime we did more than a top 10 list, we had to have those numbers voiced. So it took me, and we just threw some crappy modifier on it, and hence now you have 11 through 20, and it truly sucked.
You know you've got one hell of a list when Donkey Kong barely makes it.
DKC at number 20, controversial.
DKC gave gamers a boner with its visuals and a badass soundtrack to boot.
You can't say boner nowadays, Craig. You can't say boner.
One of the smoothest platformers ever. This is also the first time we're introduced to Diddy Kong, who has since moved on to bigger and better things, like kicking ass. In all honesty, we had a really tough time deciding which DKC to put on the list, but ultimately the original won out due to its initial wow factor it had on gaming.
Just throw some text on the screen. It'll be all right. Just wow. I stand by that. I think a lot of people really like DKC 2, probably more than DKC 3. But I think the wow factor of DKC 1 holds up. Having recently played DKC 3 for the first time, I think the game is fun, but the fact that Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong aren't in it drives me crazy. Or whatever. That's Donkey Kong, whatever, right? Whoever. But the fact that there's a giant baby, I don't know. I never liked that.
90.
Okay, let's go.
What's your best combo on Killer Instinct? One of the coolest fighting games ever made. We spent hours on this arcade port and still play the soundtrack CD Killer Cuts at the ScrewAttack HQ. Constantly.
Not true, but it is funny to think about this soundtrack just constantly blaring throughout the office, just going crazy. And at a certain point, people just going insane because they got to hear Killer Cuts.
A game that's all about fast-paced fun and giant combos. We can only hope that the rumored KI3 becomes a reality.
Oh boy, wow, that's so crazy to think about. The idea that KI3 would actually be premiered years later at the Iron Man of Gaming, like a week after it was announced. What a crazy callback. That's insane to think about. A lot of you don't even know that. Killer Instinct, the first time it was seen publicly playable was at a ScrewAttack event at SGC. That is nuts. That's a story for another time. But man, that was legitimately one of my proudest moments. Someone's got to update the Killer Instinct wiki to reflect that. I don't think it's on there, is it? Because, I don't know, that was pretty awesome. Like, literally the first time it was seen playable. Great. Ooh, F-Zero, let's go.
F-Zero served almost as a tech demo for what Mode 7
Great
graphics
tune, man.
were all about. It set the standard for racing games at the time and still stands up as one of the best ever. The perfect blend of cakewalk controls for beginners and incredibly tough tracks for experts, F-Zero is a must download for the Virtual Console. The only thing that sucks about F-Zero is that
Virtual
the sequel
Console
never actually made it over to the United States.
Man, the Virtual Console was legit. So, a few things I took from that entry. Number one, did you know apparently you can't say cakewalk anymore? Some people get upset because you say cakewalk. I don't know. Cakewalk just means it's like easy, right? But some people think like cakewalk is, I don't care what they think. I'm going to say cakewalk. I'm a bunch of idiots. Number two, one thing I should have mentioned in there was the lack of multiplayer, because you think of games like, I don't know, they're like Top Gear on the Super Nintendo, and that had multiplayer too, screens on it. But I don't know. I never really, I guess the reason I didn't put it on there because it never really bothered me. Racing games, for me at least, F-Zero was just a single player experience. I don't know. It'd be cool to see. Like I talked about this in a last video, which by the way you should go watch that. But I talked about how great it would be to update old games like Super Nintendo games with features from today. Like if you were to take F-Zero from 1991 and then create a 2-player mode for it, there's a giant market for that. That would be amazing. So somebody get on that, Nintendo. All right.
We're huge fans of shoot-'em-ups here at ScrewAttack. So
What
when
a
it came
great
down to
tune.
it, we had an incredibly tough decision to make. Gradius 3 with its customizable plane, or the sublime controls of UN Squadron, a port that is actually better than the arcade version.
Oh, it's great.
Damn.
This song's
Both
great.
games you can just pick up and play right now. Both games have great power-ups. And both games just have stellar soundtracks.
Oh, so good.
We choose both.
Suck it.
Why? Because it's our list and not yours. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Quality logic. I like that. That was good. Looking back on this, I would have chosen UN Squadron over Gradius 3, mainly because I just have a fond affection for UN Squadron. The music is so good. In fact, you heard it the entire time. That music is great. Gradius 3 obviously has its slowdown. Did you know that, speaking of like updating Super Nintendo games, someone took Gradius 3 and removed all the slowdown from it? Because apparently when they were coding the game, like they built it with the idea of it having slowdown because there's so much crap on screen. But someone updated that. You can actually find a hack that you can download to play Gradius 3 without slowdown. That's what I'm talking about. Man, talk about a callback to 30 seconds ago. That's nice. But yeah, I think if I was to redo this again, I think UN Squadron would be higher than Gradius 3.
Three
Oh.
words. Super FX chip. Or
Just real quick, you're going to notice whenever an entry is used, we would always use either the title theme or the first level. And I've talked about this before in the past, but the first level theme. The reason being is that's what everybody heard, and that's where nostalgia was tied to for a lot of people. That's where people, their memories went directly to those, because everybody heard title screens, everybody heard the first level. So you would very rarely hear music from later on in games, because people most of the time never got that far.
is that forwards? Can you believe that we actually thought this looked good?
Still to this day.
Taking a forest animal and throwing him in a futuristic plane would actually be a great idea. Either way, it's worked out pretty damn well. With multiple paths on your way to Venom, this mix of polygons was only spoiled by one thing. Saving that stupid frog's ass every few seconds.
This music's great.
I hate Slippy.
I don't think isn't like hating Slippy like a meme now? Because I don't think that was a thing before. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But man, listen to that music. That is so good. And that was on the Super Nintendo. Just sound the orchestral soundtrack of that. That is outstanding. Now the game looks like Donkey Doo. But man, that song just makes you feel like you're about to go on an adventure. That's great. Turtles!
We're actually all about the best beat 'em up ever. Turtles
Yes.
in Time. A game that was so great, all we need to do is show you gameplay.
There you go. Or we've talked about it a bunch, so we don't need to actually talk about it anymore.
You know you love it.
That's it.
Some say this version's broken. We say we spent too many days, weeks, months on our Super Nintendo playing it to care.
Who the hell said it was broken? Is this broken? What the hell were we talking about? I legitimately have no idea what that is a reference to. Maybe someone on the internet on like some sort of message board at the time was like, I hate Street Fighter 2. I am riding on the Super Nintendo. It's broken. And we're like, okay. So we ran with that. I don't know.
It's only broken if you know the difference. And when
Okay, I'll say this. Notice the theme here. This is actually the 7 stars. You beat the game with 7 stars music. That was very rarely heard. But this was a personal choice for me because I love this theme. I think it's so good. I feel so accomplished. Like beating Street Fighter 2 on 7 stars or 8 stars, whatever highest difficulty, without losing a round, one of the highest gaming accomplishments of my life. And I'm pretty good at Mario 35. Rest in peace.
Street Fighter 2 hit our homes in all its 16-bit glory, we couldn't tell. Throwing in some crazy-ass speed in the game gave us a glimpse of what was later to come in fighting games. But if it was too fast, you could always slow it down to the original speed. So slow. With the added speed and the ability to play as the final bosses for the first time on your SNES, being bombarded by fireballs never felt so liberating.
I talked about this in a previous video about video game rumors and such. What is the worst? Let me know in the comments. What is the worst lie you've ever told about video games? Because when you're a kid, you want to feel, for me, feeling accepted had to do with video games, right? And I remember telling a lie about playing on the original Street Fighter 2, telling a friend or someone like that I played as the 4 boss characters, right? So much so that I called the Nintendo Power hotline, the one that you pay money to talk to, and I remember telling them that I found it through Game Genie or something. And I'm sure they were like, what an idiot kid. Because I think what I was doing, I was probably trying to dig to see if there was anything out there that you could play as the 4 boss characters in the original Street Fighter 2. But I'm sure they got calls like that all the time. Man, that's something I would love to do. I would love to interview a gameplay counselor, from like 30 years ago. If they have any memories of that, I'm sure they have tons of memories or memorable calls. I think that'd be such an interesting conversation. If anybody knows any Nintendo Power gameplay counselors, have them get a hold of me. Email me. Links down below in the description. As I would love to talk to them. Oh, let's go with that, Mario Kart.
It's time to take a look back and reflect on just
Mario Kart Wii around the corner.
Split screen fun with fast-paced tracks and, of course, a giant flying fish that gives you trophies.
This was definitely
Someone
me playing.
had to be high when they came up with this stuff. While the Grand
Second
Prix was fun, the real kicker of the original Mario Kart was the battle mode.
Yeah!
Let's not forget the red turtle shell, terrorizing gamers since 1993.
Oh. Still undefeated, never lost.
Konami was one of the kings of the Super Nintendo. It seems
Let's
like they
go!
were constantly pumping out greatness. Contra 3 is no exception.
Have you played Contra 3 lately? Have you played it? It's ridiculously hard. It's crazy.
Building on 2 incredible NES titles, Contra 3 lived up to its name
Listen
by
to this
making
music.
everything bigger, better, and adding more weapons. Now, admittingly, the overhead shooter levels, they were a little bit awkward. But the sheer bliss you get when mowing over bad guys in a tank or taking down a 3-story turtle, more than makes up for it. Pure 2-player greatness. even if the other player sucks. Jose.
Okay, hey, so I've seen a lot of people who are like, so wait, you react to your own videos, right? And the answer is like, yeah, because I don't remember what I said 10, 12 years ago. Do you remember what you said 10, 12 years ago, right? I have my entire 20s trapped on the internet, right? Or at least I did. But my entire video game professional life, the start of my professional life is captured on video, right? So I can go back and look at these things and see what I thought back then, which is pretty fun. So yeah, I go back and look, and it's funny to go look at that. I don't remember that Contra 3 is on the list. And just here, you saw my reaction. I was like, hell yeah! You know, so it's fun to go back and look at this. Once again, this is what I love about lists. You know, oh yeah, let's go. Oh, baby.
The first time we saw this game in Nintendo Power,
we killed it with the music. We killed it. Oh my gosh.
we pooed our pants. Seriously. It was such an upgrade over the previous Castlevanias, we could hardly wait to get our grubby little nasty hands on it. We said this before and we'll say this again. One of the best soundtracks of any Castlevania game.
Still accurate.
That good. Now you would think they would have just named the game Castlevania 4, but they had to throw Super in front of it because they knew the game was going to beat so much ass. The graphics, the soundtracks, the secrets, it was everything you looked for in a Super Nintendo game. Just not quite good enough to make the top 10.
Oh, teaser. Okay, so there's the top 10. Listen, that is outstanding. That was super fun to watch. We're already like 16 minutes in. We're gonna keep it going. I could tease you and say we're gonna wait and make sure you subscribe. No. I trust you're gonna subscribe. I trust you're gonna stay with me this entire time. Let's continue on. Oh, that's kind of interesting. We're gonna continue on here with 10 through 1, but I'm enjoying this so far. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, the music cues that we put in these, at least for me, like, and I made these videos, right? Like, listen, it's driving nostalgia for me. Not the videos, but the music itself for these games. That's awesome. All right, let's go to 10 through 1 here. Once again, do me a favor, subscribe. That's great. And tell me what you think in the comments. Comments are huge. All right, I said this is interesting because the video before we used the classic intro sound. This one we used the da-da-da-da-da-da. So something happened between these two videos, which was like a 1 or 2 week time period to where we decided to change the intro theme. Interesting. Very interesting.
Warning, the following list contains some of the best games of all time. If your favorite is not on the list or not where you want it to be, don't be a bitch and freak out. The Super Nintendo was just that good of a system. Hey,
love it.
Stutter and Craig for ScrewAttack's top 20 Super NES games, 10 through 1.
I think that's really funny, by the way. The idea that, like, sometimes that's a saying that needs to come back more. Just don't be a bitch. Hey, stop being a bitch. Can we like bring that back in a better, like, more welcoming format? Just, it means like, hey, stop it. Just stop. Don't stop being a bitch. Just stop. Next time somebody's being a bitch, tell them. Okay, just do me a favor. Look, we need to bring that back. Listen, we can do this together. Let's go to number 10.
What do you get when you take a desolate land spattered with evil demons and combine them with a little naked angel friend?
Oh.
ActRaiser.
Oh.
Solving a city for your people to live in is incredibly satisfying. You've also got the kicker of romping through monsters to some of the best tunes in video game history.
Oh my gosh.
Man, just listen to this makes you want to rip somebody's head off. Oh yeah, video game soundtrack aggression.
Well, what the hell did that say? ScrewAttack does not believe in video game. ScrewAttack does not believe in video game music causes aggression. Fat chicks do. What a statement. Oh, Lord. Can't cancel me because I don't care. First off, number 2, I didn't write that. I don't know. Maybe I did. Who cares? But man, ActRaiser is so great. If you've never played this game, I'm watching this series. There's a series that goes through and chronicles in, like, it's like a newer version of the video game vault, just considerably more detailed. They're like 15-minute long videos about each individual game and the development of it and such. I wish I just know it by its thumbnails. But they have a series on the NES. the Super Nintendo, and various, and it kind of chronicles classic games. They did an entire series. Hello, email. They did an entire series about ActRaiser, or at least an episode, and it was really great. ActRaiser is just so top tier.
Number 9.
Oh man,
Cute,
I don't know if this would make my top 10 now.
Shooting eggs out your ass and made it incredibly fun. Oh, whining baby Mario, you're so adorable. While the cuteness of the game may have turned some gamers off, they missed out on sublime controls and gameplay. Oh, baby Mario, now you're starting to annoy me. But this boss battle, absolutely epic.
Not many people made it here. Not many people made it to the final boss of whatever this is, whatever game this is. I don't even.
Taking on a giant baby.
Oh, screen cap footage. You can tell because the frame rate.
From a few miles away while the sky is falling and he rushes you. Wow.
Oh man.
I hate you. Shut up.
I don't know if that would make the top 10 my personal list. It's definitely a top 20 though, for sure. I'd probably put you in Squadron higher. I think. Maybe flip those two somewhere, but. You know, when you're dealing with like a top 20, this is the creme de la creme right here.
Number 8.
Well, pretty much every existing NES franchise
yes.
that made the jump to the Super Nintendo received a huge facelift.
I love the Sigma theme in Mega Man X. I think it's so good. We used it all the time. I would use it today if I had a reason to use it.
Money, Mega Man made the biggest jump. Moving away from destroying robot men and focusing on kicking robot animal ass, Mega Man X brought forth a plethora of new abilities never before seen in the series, including the ability to bust a cap with a fireball straight out of Street Fighter 2.
Oh.
Making that jump and killing yourself off just to get it? The things we do for the little extras.
Have you ever beat Sigma with a fireball before? For me, just the idea that the Hadouken existed in Mega Man X still today is like kind of blows my mind a little bit. I never went in and did because apparently in the second one there was the Shuriken, and you always heard rumors that in the third one there was a hurricane kick, which would make logical sense. But I don't think anything ever came from any future Mega Man X games. Those little Easter eggs here, and the idea of like how to get the Hadouken and the Shuriken, like or at least the Hadouken. I never got the Shuriken, but or the dragon uppercut. It's just so stupid. The idea of having to kill yourself off and you had to have a certain number of life, and like who the hell figures this stuff out? Who knows? Who knows?
Hey, if you thought Super Mario 3 was impressive, this made you blow
Number
your
7
load.
for World?
Rarely does a commercial actually sum up a game, but this one actually does.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna get a copyright flag for this, but so I'm not gonna show this. But this commercial itself was amazing. A bit more power, a bit more of this Super Mario World. So that's kind of interesting. This Super Mario Bros. And in Japan, this actually had a 4 in front of it.
Created especially for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. A bit more this, a bit more this, a bit more this. Oh my gosh, I love this ad. And I don't want to get flagged for copyright for using it for whatever reason.
And it's yours only if you get new Super Nintendo. Now
you're playing with power. Super power.
Number 6.
All right, that was awesome. Oh, Secret of Mana. This would not make my top 10. This was probably a group decision, or this was probably in the name of just adding an RPG to the list. Because you guys know I'm not a huge RPG, but I do appreciate the tunes, man. Listen to those tunes.
Let's take a magical journey. A journey of a boy, a girl, and a sprite. A journey where not only you could play, but so could your friends. That's right, multiplayer. In an RPG? Heck yes! Taking a different approach than traditional turn-based RPGs, Secret of Mana used an unconventional ring system for ease, which depending on your style, you either loved or you hated it.
I'd like to point out that at this point, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Somebody wrote this, and I just presented it.
We loved it. The only drawback to Secret of Mana is that if you want to pick it up nowadays, it's going to cost you upwards towards $70.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Secret of Mana for $70 today is probably a bargain. Okay, probably an absolute bargain. $70. Oh, $70, which is still a lot of money, but come on. The video game retro community is just price gouge the shit out of you. I talk about the multiplayer in this, and in Secret of Mana, there was actually 3-player. You had to hook up like a Super Nintendo version of like a satellite or whatever, to where you had three players at one time. It was a very rarely used peripheral. because 2 players was good enough for most people, but Secret of Mana had to screw it up and add a 3rd player, which I don't think I've ever actually seen Secret of Mana played with a 3rd player attached. Or I gotta be honest, I've never even seen Secret of Mana played with a 2nd player. But just the idea of having it and having the ability to do so, pretty fun.
A totally different change of pace to the Mario series, Super Mario RPG.
Once again, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about here. Somebody wrote this. I'm actually shocked that Mario World is not higher on this list. The fact that these 2 games are higher than Mario World for me is a travesty. This list sucks.
He introduced a number of different characters to the fray that we never heard from again.
Gino.
Mario had moved away from jumping on Goomba's heads to now attacking, waiting patiently, hoping you don't die, scrolling through your attack options, thinking about what you want to do, and then attacking again. And people loved it. Almost.
Okay, I'll say this. I definitely wrote that because that's how I think about RPGs, turn-based RPGs where you go and attack. Wait, okay, I'm gonna get hit now. It's like I watched Patriot recently, that Mel Gibson movie from like the 2000s where Heath Ledger dies. Sorry, spoiler. And like it's so old school war mentality where you walk up to each other and then the front line gets mowed down by bullets. Then the rest of them shoot back, and then everyone reloads their gun, and they just go back and forth. That's never made sense to me. It's like, yeah.
Just as much as G4 loves to air old episodes of Cops.
Number 4.
G4, remember them? What a bunch of idiots.
Another RPG? Using its massive 32 megs of power, Chrono Trigger made gamers say wow the first time they popped it in their Super Nintendo.
Chrono
Let's
Bus.
talk about the awesome points. Innovative fighting system, check. Multiple endings, check.
Check.
Time travel, check. Busting out crazy ass double and triple text, you bet your ass. When was the last time you saw a giant frog crush a minion? Hell, they even had a little cameo from a game that may or may not be in the list later on. And the Power Glove. Will we ever see another game in the Chrono series? Unfortunately, it looks like the Chrono Bus has made its last stop.
Clip art with the Chrono Trigger character on the front of it. Look at that great Photoshop skills right there. Like we're gonna the Chrono Bus up top just took out school. That's some intense Photoshop ability, man. We were on it today. On it back then. That's hilarious. God, that's good. Was there? I think there was a Chrono Trigger sequel. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments. So someone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Craig," or "You're an idiot." 3 RPGs back to back to back. This was definitely not my doing. Definitely not my doing.
Stop.
Number 3. Here we go. Okay, I was gonna say now there's a 4. Here's Final Fantasy. Listen to the music. This is the thing for me.
I remember the first time I rented Final Fantasy 3 or 6 and realized, what the hell? I
this is
can't
3.
beat this game in 3 days, and I'm gonna have to rent it again. Shit. Final Fantasy 3 is a hallmark on the Super Nintendo. Multiple plot lines, one of the most badass mofos in video game history, and of course, the opera scene.
Oh,
While Final Fantasy 5 was
music's
remarkable,
great, man.
Final Fantasy 6 took
I'm probably gonna get flagged for this music too. Probably. We'll see. We'll see.
everything to a new level.
Oh man.
Some argue that this soundtrack is the best in the Final Fantasy
Yeah.
series. That is
It's
a
so good.
statement.
Number 2.
I'm gonna say this right now. If you're watching this and the video just jumped and there's no number 3, it's because YouTube made me remove the clip and I had just edited it down in the back end because copyright and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Don't worry about it.
Now,
All right.
here
So
is
clearly
the for you.
Zelda
A
Zelda
Link to the
3
Past.
and then
This is the first time
Super
we're actually
Metroid.
introduced to a
That's
major
it.
Zelda storyline. Link fought in both the light and dark worlds in an attempt to foil Ganon's evil plans with the Triforce.
so good, man.
Also included for the
Video
first time
editing.
is what might be the most useful weapon in Zelda history.
Hookshot.
Hookshot.
Yeah.
Why use a boomerang when you can just stab a guy from the other side of the screen? Also, don't forget about that badass fairy who upgrades your Master Sword. Your sword is stronger. You can feel it throbbing in your hand. That's sexual.
Did I say fat ass fairy? Just want to be really clear with what I said here. Did I say fat ass or badass?
Also, don't forget about that badass fairy who upgrades your Master Sword.
I'm just gonna go with badass fairy instead of fat ass fairy. We'll see that.
If you missed
Oh.
the first half of the Super Nintendo Top 20, hey,
My God.
there's still time. Go back and watch it.
No,
In
you
the
don't have to.
meantime,
It's already here.
Let's recap the top 10 before we get to
All right, do a recap here. Recaps were always fun because, like, in retrospect, like today, we would never do recaps because people would just skip to the end of the video and watch, right? You want people to watch your videos. That's how the YouTube game is played. But back then, you didn't have to worry about that stuff. People would enjoy the process of watching a video. Cheaters, all you.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
The largest game available at the time at a heaping 24 megs.
Yeah.
Super Metroid is the best 2D action adventure ever.
Ever.
Let alone on the Super Nintendo.
I always tried to sound like super dramatic with these, but in retrospect, it's kind of like, okay, you tried. You tried, Craig.
From the opening sequence, you knew that you were in for one thing. Greatness. A game that is 100% complete from beginning to end. There's only one word to describe
So
how
good.
you feel after playing Super Metroid.
Awesome, amazing,
Satisfied.
satisfying.
Whether it's a throwback to the old Metroid levels at the beginning of the game, or going out of your way to save your little buddies at
Brilliant.
the end to see if little Pixel escaped the exploding planet, Super Metroid left nothing. Nothing. Not done. Super Metroid, like
Not
any of the games
done.
on this list, could easily be considered the best game of all time.
Probably the case. For me, one of them for sure, Super Metroid is ridiculously good. So there you go. There's the top 20 Super Nintendo games from way back in, like, I don't know, 2010 or so. I appreciate you guys spending 30 minutes. I'm not done. We still got a little bit of time together because I just want to talk about, like, the process of putting this list together. I mentioned several times that there are games on there that I didn't necessarily agree with. And otherwise, that would have been like Stutter and Craig's top 10. I always wanted to make sure that anything we did represented a whole, right? The whole, the screw attack, the bolt. You hear, like, the NFL says all the time, you got to protect the shield of their logo. I felt the same thing about our bolt, our logo, our brand, who we are. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have individual voices and personalities within that, but the brand, the business was bigger than anybody else. I remember actually saying in a meeting, and I'll probably get slack for this. I got to be honest, I don't really care, but that because it's the truth. I remember saying in a meeting that everybody was replaceable at ScrewAttack, including myself, and that held true. That was very true up until the rebrand of ScrewAttack later on down the line, and that's something that people don't like to hear. And I probably could have phrased that a little bit better. But the reality is that literally everybody's replaceable in any sort of company, right? Whether you're making burgers or running a company, everybody has to be lesser than the brand, because without the brand, without the company, then nobody else has jobs, right? And then you can't be replaceable, right? So. But that was kind of my thought process with our content as a whole was have it represent everybody as best as possible, because you're never going to represent everybody totally, but it's fun to go look at that. I very much enjoyed looking back on that. Let me know in the comments what videos and what other series. I look at Pop Fiction from Game Trailers. That series is amazing. I look at the old top tens. If there's any other classic series online, whether it's gaming related or not, that has kind of been pushed aside or hasn't been seen in a while, I would love to go back and relive those with you. Once again, subscribe to the channel. Your super thanks are much appreciated down in the comments. Your comments obviously help boost the algorithm, so put something down there and let me know you're watching my videos. Guys, have a great day. I know this is much longer than the usual stuff, but that's part of the fun. You guys have a great day. Remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got to go get it. See you guys on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays around noon o'clock. Bye-bye.